You know that feeling when you're running late and the entire universe seems determined to make your day worse? That was me, every single morning. I'm Miho, a 22-year-old university student who's chronically sleep-deprived and perpetually broke. Balancing classes with a part-time job at the Grand Silla Hotel wasn't exactly my dream life, but the pay was decent enough to cover my rent and instant ramen addiction. This particular morning started like any other disaster. My alarm didn't go off, or maybe I slept through it, I honestly can't remember, and I woke up with exactly 17 minutes to get to my 9 a.m. shift. I threw on my uniform, didn't bother with breakfast, and grabbed a coffee from the convenience store on the corner. The Ajumma there knew me well enough to have my order ready before I even asked. Bless her. I was speed walking down the street, weaving between the morning crowd in Gangnam, when my phone buzzed. It was Do-hyun, my best friend since high school. Dude, did you study for the exam? His text read. Exam? What exam? My stomach dropped as I remembered. We had our business management midterm tomorrow. Tomorrow. And I hadn't even looked at my notes. I was furiously typing a panicked response while walking, which, in hindsight, was incredibly stupid. I didn't see him until it was too late. 1 second I was staring at my phone screen, the next I'd collided with what felt like a brick wall. My coffee cup went flying, my phone clattered to the ground, and I stumbled backward, arms windmilling uselessly before I landed hard on but right there on the marble steps of the hotel entrance. Shit, I muttered, more embarrassed than hurt. Are you fucking serious right now? The voice was cold, sharp, and deeply annoyed. I looked up, way up, and my brain just stopped working for a moment. Standing above me was possibly the most beautiful man I'd ever seen in my entire life. Tall, probably around 6 feet, with perfectly styled dark hair that looked effortlessly tousled. His face could have been carved from marble, sharp jawline, high cheekbones, and eyes that were currently glaring down at me with an intensity that made my heart skip for reasons I didn't want to examine. But it was his suit that really drove home how badly I'd screwed up. It was clearly designer, probably cost more than my entire wardrobe combined, and it was now decorated with a massive brown coffee stain spreading across the pristine white shirt underneath his navy jacket. Oh my God, I scrambled to my feet, nearly tripping over myself in the process. I'm so sorry, I wasn't looking where I was going, Clearly. He brushed at the stain with obvious distaste, though it was already soaking into the expensive fabric. His voice had a low, rich quality that would have been attractive if he wasn't looking at me like I was something unpleasant he'd stepped in. I'll pay for the dry cleaning, I blurted out, even though I was mentally calculating how many shifts I'd need to pick up to afford cleaning a suit that probably required some specialized luxury treatment. Or the shirt. I can replace the shirt. He finally looked directly at me then, really looked at me, and something strange happened. His expression shifted, the anger melting into something I couldn't quite read. His eyes, dark and intense, seemed to study my face like he was memorizing it. The moment stretched between us, and I became acutely aware that we were standing very close, that I could smell his cologne, something expensive and woody that made my head spin. You'll pay for this, he said, but his voice had lost its sharp edge. It was softer now, almost thoughtful. The corner of his mouth twitched, like he was suppressing a smile. Yes, absolutely, just tell me where to send the money or I'll let you know. He straightened his jacket, still watching me with that unreadable expression. Then he stepped around me and walked into the hotel like he owned the place. I stood there for a solid 10 seconds, my heart pounding for reasons that had nothing to do with the collision, before I remembered I was now 12 minutes late for my shift. I grabbed my phone from the ground, thankfully uncracked, and rushed inside. The rest of my shift passed in a blur of checking in guests and answering phone calls, but I couldn't stop thinking about him. Those eyes. That face. The way his entire demeanor had changed when he looked at me. I told myself it didn't matter, that I'd probably never see him again, that I should be more worried about how I was going to pay for his dry cleaning if he actually contacted me. I should have known better. The next morning, I showed up for my shift to find the hotel lobby buzzing with unusual activity. My supervisor, Mrs. Kim, was frantically adjusting her blazer and barking orders at everyone. Stand up straight. Look professional. The chairman's son is visiting today. My coworker Jehun leaned over and whispered, Apparently he's never cared about the business before. Wonder what changed. I was arranging brochures at the front desk when I heard Mrs. Kim's voice turn syrupy sweet. "Welcome, Mr. Kong. We're honored by your presence." "Thank you," a familiar voice replied, and my entire body went rigid. No way. I turned slowly and there he was. The guy from yesterday. Coffee stain guy. Except now he was wearing a different immaculate suit, charcoal gray this time, and standing in our lobby like he belonged there. Because apparently he did. His eyes scanned the lobby, passing over the staff lined up to greet him, until they landed on me. Recognition flashed across his face, followed by something that looked almost like satisfaction. His lips curved into a smile that was equal parts charming and predatory. "I'll be personally overseeing operations at this location for the foreseeable future," he announced to the assembled staff, but he was still looking directly at me. "I'm looking forward to getting to know everyone here, intimately." Mrs. Kim beamed. "Of course, Mr. Kang Jae-hyun. Whatever you need." Jae-hyun. His name was Jae-hyun, and he was the CEO's son, and he was staring at me like I was the reason he decided to suddenly take an interest in his father's hotel chain. I was so screwed. If I thought my life was complicated before, the next week proved I had no idea what complicated actually meant. Jae-hyun wasn't subtle. At all. It started on his second day. I was restocking minibar supplies on the 5th floor when Seo Jun, this older gentleman who I'd learned was Jae-hyun's personal butler, appeared in the hallway like some kind of well-dressed ghost. "Excuse me, Mihosai," he said politely, holding out a sleek black box. "Mr. Kong asked me to deliver this to you." I stared at the box like it might explode. "What is it?" "Perhaps you should open it." There was the hint of a smile on his face, like he was in on some joke I wasn't aware of. Inside was a watch. Not just any watch, a fucking Rolex. The price tag was still attached, and I nearly dropped the entire box when I saw it. 3 million won. 3 million. "I can't accept this," I said immediately, trying to shove it back at Seo Jun. "Mr. Kong anticipated you might say that. He told me to tell you it's compensation for the coffee incident." Seo Jun's expression remained perfectly neutral. "He insists. This is insane. The dry cleaning wouldn't cost anywhere near. He's quite insistent when he wants something, Miho SSI. You'll learn that." And with that cryptic statement, Seo Jun bowed slightly and left me standing there with a watch worth more than 6 months of my salary. I returned it to the front desk with a note. "Thank you, but I can't accept this. The coffee stain wasn't worth 3 million won." The next day, there were flowers. A massive bouquet of white roses delivered to the staff room with a card that simply read, "Have dinner with me, Jage." I threw the card away. Kept the flowers because they were beautiful and it seemed wasteful not to, but I threw the card away. Day 3 brought a gift basket of expensive chocolates and French wine. Day 4 was a designer bag that I didn't even take out of the box before returning. Day 5 was a handwritten note slipped into my locker. "You're making this harder than it needs to be. I like that about you." He's lost his mind, I told Do-hyun over cheap soju that Friday night. We were at our usual spot, a tiny pojangmaka near my apartment where the ajumma knew to bring us extra kimchi. "Or he's actually interested," Do-hyun said, pouring us both another shot. "Rich guys don't usually work this hard, do they?" "That's what worries me." I downed the soju, welcoming the burn. What happens when he gets bored? When he realizes I'm just some nobody who spilled coffee on him? Do-hyun gave me a look. "You're not a nobody, you idiot." But that's exactly how I felt every time Jae-hyun showed up at the hotel. He came by almost every day that week, always finding excuses to be near the front desk, to ask me questions about hotel operations that he could have asked literally anyone else. His presence made me hyper-aware of everything. The way my uniform fit, how I wore my hair, the stupid way my voice went up half an octave when I was nervous. The breaking point came on Thursday evening. My shift had ended at 6, and I was exhausted, looking forward to nothing more than instant ramen and passing out in front of my laptop. I walked out the employee entrance into the parking garage and nearly had a heart attack when I saw Jae-hyun leaning against a sleek black Mercedes, looking like he'd stepped out of a magazine spread. "What are you doing here?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "Waiting for you." He pushed off the car, hands in his pockets, looking infuriatingly casual. Let me drive you home. I take the subway. Not tonight, you don't. Jae-hyun. It's on my way, he lied smoothly. I knew for a fact he lived in Gangnam, and my tiny apartment in Mapo was definitely not on the way to anywhere he needed to be. This needs to stop, I said, trying to sound firm even though my heart was racing. The gifts, the rides, all of it. I can't accept any of this. Why not? He stepped closer, and I had to tilt my head back to maintain eye contact. God, why did he have to be so tall? Because you're the CEO's son, and I'm just. Don't. His voice went hard. Don't finish that sentence. I've heard you say it half a dozen times now, and I'm tired of it. It's the truth. It's bullshit. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident in every line of his body. You think I care about any of that? You think I go around chasing after every hotel employee I meet? I don't know what you do, I shot back. I don't know you. Then let me fix that. Have dinner with me. One dinner, Miho. If you still want nothing to do with me after that, I'll back off. I should have said no. Every rational part of my brain was screaming at me to say no, to walk away, to take the subway home and pretend Kang Jae-hyun didn't exist. But there was something in his eyes, something raw and honest that made me hesitate. One dinner, I heard myself say, but I'm paying for my half. His smile was blinding. We'll see about that. The dinner happened 2 days later. He took me to this restaurant in Itaewon that didn't even have prices on the menu, which should have been my first clue to run. But Jae-hyun was different than I expected. Away from the hotel, without an audience, he was funny and surprisingly self-deprecating. He told me about growing up under his father's expectations, about feeling like he was playing a role his entire life. Until I met you, he said over dessert, his eyes intense across the candlelit table. Crashing into you was the first real thing that's happened to me in years. My chest tightened. You don't even know me. I want to. He reached across the table, his fingers brushing mine. Let me know you, Miho. Please. I pulled my hand back, but not before I felt the spark of electricity where our skin touched. This is crazy. Maybe. His smile was soft, almost vulnerable. But I've never been more certain of anything in my life. He drove me home that night, and when he pulled up outside my building, he didn't try to kiss me or push for more. He just looked at me with those intense eyes and said, "Same time next week?" I should have said no. I really should have said no. Okay, I whispered instead. His smile told me I'd just sealed my fate. The company gala wasn't supposed to involve me at all. I was just supposed to work it, serve drinks, clear plates, blend into the background like a good little staff member while Seoul's elite mingled and made business deals over champagne that cost more than my monthly rent. But of course, nothing involving Kang Jae-hyun ever went according to plan. We'd been doing this dance for 3 months now. 3 months of dinners that turned into late-night conversations in his car. 3 months of stolen glances at the hotel and text messages that made my heart race. 3 months of me pretending I wasn't falling for him while he made it abundantly clear he'd already fallen for me. You're playing with fire, Do-hyun had warned me last week over fried chicken. His world and yours, they don't mix, Miho. I knew he was right. I'd known it from the start. But knowing something and being able to stop it are two very different things. The gala was being held in the hotel's grand ballroom, and I'd been assigned to the cocktail service team. I spent the first hour of the event carrying trays of hors d'oeuvres, carefully avoiding eye contact with guests who looked through me like I was furniture. That's the thing about being staff at these events, you become invisible. Which was exactly what I wanted to be. I spotted Jae-hyun across the room, surrounded by executives and their daughters who laughed too loudly at everything he said. He looked incredible in his tuxedo, all sharp lines and confidence, but there was a tightness around his eyes that I'd learned to recognize. He was bored, miserable even, playing the role of the perfect heir. Our eyes met across the crowd, and something shifted in his expression. He excused himself from his group and started walking toward me with clear purpose. No. I quickly turned and headed for the kitchen, my heart hammering. He couldn't approach me here, not in front of all these people. But I should have known better. When Kang Jae-hyun wanted something, he didn't care who was watching. I just set down my empty tray when I felt a hand on my elbow. I turned to find him right there, close enough that I could smell his cologne, see the determination in his eyes. Dance with me, he said. Not asked. Demanded. Are you insane? I hissed, very aware of the other staff members staring. I'm working. I don't care. His grip on my elbow was gentle but firm. Dance with me, Miho. Jae-hyun, everyone will see. Good. Let them see. There was something fierce in his expression, something that both thrilled and terrified me. I'm done hiding how I feel about you. Before I could protest further, he was leading me out of the kitchen and onto the ballroom floor. The music was some classical piece I didn't recognize, and conversations died around us as people noticed. Whispers erupted like wildfire. I could feel hundreds of eyes on us, judging, questioning. This is a mistake, I whispered as he pulled me into a proper dance position, his hand warm on my waist. The only mistake was waiting this long. He held me closer than was strictly appropriate, his thumb tracing small circles on my lower back that made me shiver. Do you know how hard it's been? Watching you, wanting you, having to pretend you're just another employee? That's what I am. Bullshit. His voice was low, intense. You're everything, Miho. Don't you get that yet? I could feel my face burning, hyper-aware of all the attention on us. An older woman in diamonds was whispering behind her hand to her companion. A group of young executives were openly staring. And there, on the edge of the dance floor, was a man who could only be Jae-hyun's father, tall, imposing, with the same sharp features but none of the warmth. He was watching us with an expression that made my blood run cold. Your father is staring at us, I managed. I know. Jae-hyun didn't even glance in his direction. Let him stare. Let them all stare. Let them see that you're mine. I'm not yours, I protested weakly, but even I could hear how unconvincing I sounded. His eyes darkened. Aren't you? The song ended, and I pulled away, my hands shaking. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The walls of the ballroom felt like they were closing in. I mumbled something about needing air and practically ran for the exit, pushing through the French doors that led to the garden. The night air was cool against my flushed skin. I walked deeper into the garden, past perfectly manicured hedges and a fountain that probably cost more than my education. My mind was spinning. What had he done? What had we done? There was no taking that back, no pretending now that there wasn't something between us. Miho. I spun around to find Jae-hyun silhouetted in the doorway, backlit by the ballroom lights. He walked toward me with purpose, loosening his bow tie like it had been strangling him. You can't just run away every time things get real, he said. Real? Jae-hyun, you just, in front of everyone. I know what I did. He stopped in front of me, close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. I'm done hiding this. Hiding us. There is no us, I said desperately. There can't be. Your father, your family, they'll never accept someone like me. I saw the way he looked at us in there. I don't care what he thinks. Well, I do. The words burst out of me. I care that I'm going to be the reason you lose everything. Your inheritance, your family's respect, your future. You are my future, he interrupted, his voice rough with emotion. Don't you understand that yet? He cupped my face in his hands, and I could see everything he felt written plainly in his eyes. Fear, desire, God, it was love, and that terrified me more than anything else. I can't do this, I whispered, tears burning behind my eyes. I can't be the reason you throw your life away. Then what am I supposed to do? His thumb brushed across my cheekbone, catching a tear I hadn't realized had fallen. How do I just stop feeling this way about you? I don't know, I admitted. But this, whatever this is, it's not sustainable. Your father will make sure of that. Miho. Please, I said softly. Just please. For a long moment, we just stood there in the garden, the muffled sounds of the gala drifting out to us. Then Jae-hyun leaned down and kissed me. It wasn't gentle or tentative. It was desperate, fierce, like he was trying to prove something, to me, to himself, to the whole damn world. His hands tangled in my hair, and I kissed him back with everything I had, all the longing and fear and desire I'd been holding back for 3 months. When we finally broke apart, both of us breathing hard, reality crashed down like a wave. I have to go, I said, my voice breaking. I can't, I'm sorry. I pulled away from him and walked quickly toward the staff exit, ignoring him calling my name. I didn't look back. I couldn't. Because if I did, I knew I'd never be able to leave. I didn't go back to work the next day. Or the day after that. I called in sick, which wasn't entirely a lie. I felt physically ill every time I thought about what happened at the gala. Mrs. Kim sounded concerned on the phone, asking if I needed anything, telling me to rest up. I wondered if she knew. If everyone knew. The photos appeared online within 24 hours. Blurry cell phone pictures of Jaehyun and me dancing, looking at each other like we were the only two people in the room. The caption on one article read, "Hotel airs secret romance with staff member?" Another was less kind, "Kang Jaehyun slumming it?" I stopped looking after that. Do-hyun came over on the third day, letting himself in with the spare key I'd given him years ago. He found me on my couch, surrounded by empty ramen containers and self-pity. "You look like shit," he said, sitting down and handing me a convenience store coffee. "Thanks. Really needed to hear that." "Have you talked to him?" I didn't need to ask who this. He's called 47 times. Texted about 100. I blocked his number yesterday. Do-hyun was quiet for a moment. "What are you going to do?" "I'm transferring," I said, the words coming out flat and final. "There's a spot open at Busan National University for next semester. I already called." "Miho. Don't." I couldn't look at him. "You were right, okay? His world and mine. They don't mix." I was stupid to think they could. "That's not what Do-hyun sighed. "Look, I was wrong. I've seen the way he looks at you. That's not some rich guy playing around. That's real." "It doesn't matter if it's real." My voice cracked. "His father called me yesterday." Do-hyun's eyes widened. "Shit. What did he say?" "He was very polite about it." I laughed bitterly. Invited me to his office, offered me tea like we were having a friendly chat. Then he put an envelope on the desk between us. 20 million won. Said it was enough to finish my degree somewhere else, start fresh. All I had to do was disappear quietly and never contact Jaehyun again. "Please tell me you didn't take it." "Of course I didn't take it." I stood up, pacing the small living room. But do you know what the worst part was? He wasn't even angry. He just looked at me like I was exactly what he expected, some gold digger trying to trap his son. Like I was proving him right by even existing. I felt the tears coming again and angrily wiped them away. "So yeah, I'm leaving. It's better this way." "Does Jaehyun know?" "No. And he won't. I'll finish out my notice period once the gossip dies down, and then I'm gone." Do-hyun looked like he wanted to argue but just pulled me into a hug instead. "I'm sorry, man. I really am." I started packing that night. Not much. My apartment was small, my possessions fewer. I'd put in my 2 weeks' notice at the hotel via email, applied for the transfer, started looking at cheap apartments in Busan online. I was doing the right thing. The smart thing. So why did it feel like my heart was being ripped out of my chest? It was past midnight when I heard the pounding on my door. Loud, insistent, desperate. I knew who it was before I even looked through the peephole. Jaehyun stood in the hallway, soaking wet from the rain I hadn't even realized had started. His hair was plastered to his forehead, his expensive shirt clinging to his frame, and his eyes, God, his eyes looked wild, almost frantic. "I know you're in there," he called out. "Miho, please. Please open the door." I squeezed my eyes shut, hand pressed against the door like I could somehow absorb his pain through the wood. "I talked to my father," he continued, his voice rough. "I know what he offered you. I know what he said. And I told him," his voice cracked. "I told him he could take his company and his money and his expectations and shove them up his ass because none of it matters without you." My hand moved to the doorknob before I could stop myself. "Don't leave," he said, quieter now. "Please don't leave me, Miho. I'm begging you." I opened the door, and the sight of him nearly broke me. He looked wrecked, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen before. This wasn't the confident CEO's son. This was just Jaehyun, standing in my shitty apartment hallway, looking at me like I was the only thing keeping him afloat. "You can't throw your life away for me," I said, my own voice breaking. "Your family, your future. You are my future." He stepped forward, water dripping onto my floor. These past 3 months have been the only time in my entire life I've felt like myself. The only time anything felt real. And I know I'm asking too much, I know it's not fair, but I can't. He took a shuddering breath. I can't go back to that empty existence without you. I won't. Jae-hyun. I love you. The words hung in the air between us. I'm in love with you, Miho. And I know you feel it too. I know you do. I did. God help me, I did. Master Jae-hyun has never fought for anything before, Miho SSI. I looked past him to find Seo-jun standing at the end of the hallway, holding an umbrella he clearly hadn't shared with Jae-hyun. His expression was kind, understanding. In all the years I've known him, Seo-jun continued, I've never seen him care about anything the way he cares about you. Not like this. I looked back at Jae-hyun, at the hope and fear warring in his eyes, and felt something in my chest give way. All the walls I'd built, all the logical reasons I'd listed for why this couldn't work, they crumbled in the face of the simple truth that I loved him too. Desperately. Completely. What about your father? I asked softly. He'll come around or he won't. Either way, I'm choosing you. He cupped my face in his cold, wet hands. I'll always choose you. This is crazy, I whispered, but I was already leaning into his touch. I know. His smile was tentative, fragile. But it's the best kind of crazy. Your family will hate me. They'll learn to love you. How could they not? The media will tear us apart. Let them try. His thumb traced my cheekbone. Say yes, Miho. Say you'll stay. Say you'll give us a real chance. I thought about Busan, about running away, about all the rational reasons I should say no. Then I thought about a future without him, colorless, safe, and utterly empty. Okay, I breathed. Oh yes. We'll figure it out together. His smile was like the sun breaking through clouds. Together, he repeated, pulling me into his arms. He was soaking wet and probably getting me sick, and my neighbors were definitely going to complain about the noise, and I had no idea how we were going to make this work. But as he held me tight, his heart beating against mine, I realized something important. Sometimes the craziest choice is the only one worth making. I love you too, I whispered against his shoulder, in case that wasn't clear. His laugh was watery with relief. Say it again. I love you, Kang Jae-hyun. I pulled back to look at him, really look at him. Even though you're completely insane. Only about you. He kissed my forehead, then my cheeks, then finally my lips, soft and sweet and full of promise. Only ever about you. From the hallway, I heard Seo-jun's quiet voice. Shall I bring the car around, sir? Give us a minute, Jae-hyun called back, never taking his eyes off me. Take all the time you need, Seo-jun replied, and I could hear the smile in his voice. We stood there in my doorway, wet and laughing and completely ridiculous, and I thought, this is what real feels like. This messy, complicated, beautiful thing between us.